We're taking you to California tonight with Jordan Vai, my good friend, master distiller for Savage and Cooke. You're joining us there live from Mare Island. What's happening there at Savage and Cooke, Jordan?
Oh man, well, we are trying not to catch on fire. First off, but we're doing a pretty good job of that out here. Most of the fires are on both sides of us. Damn unfortunate thing for California. We're trying to help how we can,
Right.
And mainly by making whiskey, something to forget about. But yeah, it's going good here. We're back in production with whiskey, and that's a damn fine thing. We're making some batches of rye, picking up where we left off 5 months ago when this whole mess started.
Yeah, no, that is a damn fine thing, as you say. Now, just so we have a little bit of an idea, because we are concerned about everybody we're hearing about in California, and I'm out there a lot during the year usually. How far away from the fires are you guys?
Well, the two big fires are north of us. The LNG Lightning Complex is only about 50 miles north of us. It's not far. This is one of the first days you can look out the window and it's not smoke right up to the windows. So we've had some strange days. The August Complex, which is the largest fire up north a little bit further, just past the north end of the Napa Valley. We're right at the south end of what is Napa Valley. And then there's some big fires going on south of us, down near San Jose. Sorry.
Right.
And so yeah, we're kind of boxed in by some giant fires, and right over the mountains here, over in Vacaville, that Lightning Complex fire is burning there. Some other fires burning on the coastline. So we're kind of right in the middle of a big ring of fire. Not very cool.
Yeah.
But everybody's pulled together out here. There's been a lot of support, especially in our industry and whatnot. Refugees flooding in from different areas. Everybody's doing what they can. California's really good about pulling together and taking care of their own when we inevitably catch on fire every year, Right.
And you guys have been especially good there at Savage and Cooke, taking care of your own during the pandemic. I know you've made a lot of great hand sanitizer, and you've really pitched in. What's been happening there? It's been a few months since we chatted.
Well, we have been pretty much nonstop on hand sanitizer for the last 5 months. And thank you for complimenting me on the hand sanitizer. I guarantee you it's the least tasty thing I've ever made. And so we're glad to be winding down on it. I think the at least in our part of the country, people have caught up, the major manufacturers of hand sanitizer, and the primary surge. I mean, I'm not going to say we're anywhere near any kind of slowing, especially here in California. We can't take any credit or any kind of stance on being almost over this here. But it seems that everybody's got their fill of hand sanitizer. We still have quite a bit. We have a warehouse full of it that we're ready to deploy as needed. Requests for donations and whatnot have slowed down. We've supplied who we could. And it seems to have steadied itself out enough so that we've cleaned up the tanks and washed out the equipment, tried to get the Bitrex and glycerin off everything, and we're back to making rye whiskey.
That's incredible. And again, if you're watching us, just joining us right now, like this video, share this, tell us down below what your favorite Savage and Cooke whiskey is. I love them all. I know in a few moments we are going to try something new. That's your new recipe of this wonderful bad sweater. I have the one from last year, and I really can't say enough great things about the bad sweater holiday whiskey. So this year it's actually wearing a sweater.
It's now with 90% more sweater. Yes, I guess 100% more sweater.
It needed a little bit more. It needed a little bit more warmth, didn't it?
We felt like it might be cold, and it definitely would choose to wear a tacky sweater vest if it were conscious and not just a bottle full of liquid. So yeah, we decided to give it what it wanted, and we put a sweater on it with not at all polarizing religious iconography on it. It's a bad sweater, but it's a great whiskey, man.
It's
We're
working
on a tagline for it right now, so I'm going to try out a few as I hold them in a pose.
Well, should we go ahead and try that? I could pour a little of last year's, and you can pour the one you're holding. You want to go ahead and try?
Did I forget to send you? We're just bottling it now. I literally had to go.
Oh, it's all right. I like this one
from the bottling line.
I can certainly try.
It's essentially the same whiskey. I did play with it a little bit. That was my first year's iteration. What you have in your hand, which I was quite proud of. But
yes,
you always try to think I can do better. At least convince the people who write my paycheck that I can do better, and I'm still relevant around here. No, we did a little more orange, a little more chocolate. It's like an orange and a box of chocolate and a delicious apple pie. Got a little drunk one night and ended up in bed, and nobody really knows who the father is now, but it's got a lot of love.
No, it's very holiday-esque. And again, for those of you just joining us, it's BourbonBlog Live. We're joining Jordan Vise joining us for another great conversation and tasting there live in California. From Savage and Cooke. So like this, share this, subscribe to that link right there, wherever you're watching it from. Tell people, I think people mainly understand, but whereabouts is your distillery? I've been there, I know where it is, but how would you describe it?
Well, you haven't been to this part of the distillery. This is all new. Sorry about.
Oh, okay. I stayed corrected. I've been to the distillery, but not.
You have not been to the bar, Tom. Yes, no. Finally.
Where is that then? Where is this new bar in the distillery?
This is in our beautiful new conference / meeting / drinking too much and pretending we're working room. It's right at the front of the building with the Napa River out in front of us over here, and
wow.
Some gorgeous windows and a lot of cool stuff that Dave Finney likes to collect. He finally got around to building, arguably the most important room in the whole distillery, which is,
So this is the bar. Would this be mainly for conferences, or eventually it's going to be a bar you invite people into?
Yeah, it hasn't officially been defiled by a official conference or very serious meeting yet.
Right.
But probably will happen.
You and I are having a pretty serious meeting. This is kind of maybe one of the first meetings.
this might be the first real serious thing we.
This could be it.
Yeah. So yeah.
So this is the new bar. Cool. Congratulations on that. Cheers. I'm toasting a little bad sweater here. And last year, really just some great holiday-esque. Do I get a little clove in this too?
There's a little clove in there. You're quite perceptive.
Little clove in this. This year, how's it changing for people that have tried the bad sweater? Because it is incredible.
Again, we've I tried to kind of refocus it. I always loved those chocolate oranges. I don't know if you remember this oddity of strange candy that your grandfather probably convinced you to try a piece of, while promising something better that comes from a store in a package. Anyway, it's orangey. It's quite orangey. It's quite chocolatey. Tone the cinnamon down quite a bit. The baking spices component to it is more integrated in there. And it's not better. It's just a little different, a little more it's a little more gooder. I'm gonna go with that because I can't call anything, and that sounds like nice English.
It's gooder but bad. Maybe it's bad.
It's like so many things.
It's good and bad both. This is tasty, and I'm sure. When will this new one be on the shelf? The one you're trying.
I'm sorry.
When will the new one be on the shelf? The one that you're holding up there. When can we be seeing this one?
As soon as we finish bottling it up, we're gonna get it out to a store near you, and hopefully I would have known that answer before I got on with you.
It's all right. No, we know it'll be
so
sometime this week.
You'll have it by next month.
I'm excited to try it, and obviously be watching for the new bad sweater, wearing a sweater. And again, a very unique distillery. As you walk into this distillery, you're immediately greeted by some very interesting art. The vibe there is it's very forward thinking. It's can you show us around a little bit where you are?
I can.
Thank you so much. If you would please.
Creepy disembodied hand here.
Yeah, and what did this place used to be?
This place, this entire island here. Tell me if my videoing here sucks. please, Tom.
No, I can say it looks great. I see it.
Nowhere near the talent you are, sir. So this whole island was a naval facility, one of the oldest in the country, actually. Definitely one of the oldest in the western seaboard here. The building we're in now, which houses the distillation equipment and some of the aging stock. We have a small warehouse of barrels here. Our main rick houses are a little further north on the island.
Right.
Keep them nice and hot. We still try to keep it a little cool in here, but this building here was a parts building for submarines, submarine parts, believe it or not. It was built in 1906, I believe. Yeah, and it's just stood since then. We started refurbishing it. Oh gosh, almost 5 years ago now, and it took a long time. It was about 3 years in bringing it up to structural code for California, and yeah, turned out to be a beautiful building.
It's an incredible building, and the art comes from just all over. The art that adorns this, the vibe. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, well, I got to get to the art. But
it shows the still. The still's a work of art too. Definitely, please.
Yeah. So this is our Vendome Copper and Brass Works 24-inch column still. This is from I'm on the center floor of the building. So we've got a containment shaft for it that we can see it from every floor. Give you a couple different angles. But yeah, and as you can see, there's it's so nice to see that happening.
That is nice. Yes.
This is the whole place is comprised of two buildings. The one we're in now, which houses the production operations, and then across the sky bridge here, just so you can see, made out of genuine grains, not making it out of magic or unicorn parts.
The grains those grains are going in right now, aren't they?
Those grains are coming out right now.
Or coming out and going in.
What you're seeing out the window there is
incredible.
Is the leftover of the stillage has been separated from the grains, pressed out. We've reclaimed that water, and that's at about 45% moisture content. That's what goes out in that bin, goes for feedstock, and I don't know. We don't charge anyone for it. Hopefully somebody sends me a steak or a slab of bacon or something. I'm just happy to get rid of it. I've gotten what I wanted out of it, which was all the sugar to turn into some delicious whiskey. These are this is the second building here. And again, probably about the least efficient barrel house that I could have imagined putting together. It's single file of barrels. Terrible.
Well, I really like the way these are laid out. I mean, this is even the way these are spread out inside this place. This is a really different, kind of unique arrangement for a warehouse. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. If you've however, if you've ever been to a winery, it's a pretty common arrangement of barrels. So,
right.
I am here working with Dave Finney, iconic Napa Valley winemaker, and he had an aesthetic that he wanted to hold to here. I think it worked. Not very good for fitting the maximum amount of barrels into the smallest space you can, which is what most people are trying to accomplish.
Right.
Sorry, walking by a loud heat exchanger here.
It's all right.
But it does create a nice aesthetic, creates a nice space for events. This is actually an old vault, records vault here. And some of that art you were talking about, this is some art by an English artist named Ben Rivers. And
excellent.
Terrible at getting this stuff in frame.
And this is the vault, right? This is where one of the conference rooms is.
Correct. And,
what did that area of the vault used to be? I know you had told me when I was there.
Well, it used to house records for the Navy.
Records for the Navy.
We don't no idea what those records were about because it was a bunch of top secret stuff. But now it houses our slightly boozy patrons who come by and hang out at this table. And, it's really like many places, just creating more places to interestingly sit and drink and talk about things.
It's an incredible place. It's really magical. The whiskey is so unique, so delicious. And I know that are you all doing any tours, tastings right now? What's happening there right now with that?
Well, we did open back up for tastings and tours by appointment. However, we've slowed that down. Things haven't worked out so well for people opening up for those things around here. We're kind of off the beaten path too, so definitely a destination spot. We don't want people, getting together and going too far out of their comfort areas where they're safe to come and see us. So we do miss everyone. We miss all of you who've come and seen us in the past here.
Yes.
But we'll get it back together as soon as we can.
And we look forward to that. And if anyone has any questions for Jordan Vai about Savage and Cooke or what he's doing there, ask them down below. I see a lot of great people, Sue in Virginia, watching, Annabelle, Litch, a lot of great people tuning in and throwing a shout out to Jordan. A lot of good people tuning in. And so tell us, if you've had one of the whiskeys, tell us what your favorite is down below, and or ask questions. And thank you for sharing this video. I went ahead, and I love the bad sweater. I poured a little of this one, the lip service, because this one is just so delicious. Oh, where are we now? I want to tell us where we are. This is a great place.
Oh yeah, no, this is live from the Savage Cooke bathrooms.
This is so cool. This is one of the best bathroom stalls and just layout ever. The art follows us right there, doesn't it?
Yes.
It
yeah.
does.
No, Dave's done a beautiful job with this. We set it up very functional, but he's made this place a real cool place to hang out in too. I'm going to walk you through the production room real quick. But what were you asking me?
Well, I was just saying I'm on to the lip service, so I'm having a little lip service. Tell us what I know what it is. Tell us what the lip service is. This is delicious. I love this.
The lip service is our rye whiskey. That's our primary focus here, at least as far as I'm concerned. I always wanted to be a rye whiskey maker. Made a lot of great bourbon out in Breckenridge, and when it came here, really wanted to make an equally well-received rye, and I think we've done a pretty good job of it so far. But it's not a real traditional. Well, that depends on who you're drinking. Very traditional if you like your Rittenhouse and you like your Old Overholt and some of the real cheap stuff, that are absolutely iconic to me. But a 51% rye, 45% corn, 4% malted barley in there just for the enzymes. It's a highly modified distiller's malt, or very low kilned, high diastatic power distiller's malt. And we do a little longer fermentation, 5-day fermentation at a little lower temperatures, try to keep things around 80 degrees.
Right.
Not for anything but to create kind of a lower fusel alcohol profile that we can manage. We can take as much as we want. If you create too much, you're stuck with what you get sometimes before you. Anyway, different philosophy that I have for rye than I even have for bourbon. We push for a little higher collection. We collected around 138 to 140 off the still here, and then cut it back with the natural spring, with our spring water out of Anderson Valley, which is up in just north of here. It caught on fire not too long ago, but we rebuilt it, and we actually rebuilt it better, and the spring is in great condition, and now we've got all new modern facilities up there for collecting the water. So
it's delicious. That wine barrel, the way it has finished this whiskey, there's so many elements to it. There's so many layers to lip service that they go into realms of being cocktail. It's reminiscent of cocktails, but just on its own, it's such a really cool creation.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I have seen you drink quite a bit of it, so I know you're probably not lying to me.
I'm telling the truth. You better believe it. I'm a big fan of it, Jordan. I am. How long is it in those? How long is it in those? I'm gonna walk through
this noisy room here. Our doubler's so full you can't even see the top of it anymore, but I guarantee
I like it.
there's some fantastic whiskey boiling right inside there.
Very nice.
By everything coming on. This is Sully Sullivan.
What's happening? Hey, I remember that guy. What's happening, Sully? Very nice.
That's a good low wine too.
Yes. Very nice. And we're getting a tour right now. If you're just joining us, this is Savage and Cooke.
Out there in the background. If anybody wants to see his mug again, he just did the Moonshiners Master Distiller competition out in Tennessee.
Really?
And he'll be on, here in a few weeks.
And where will we be seeing this? Tell
on
us.
The Discovery Channel.
On Discovery, okay. Yeah. So that'll be on the Moonshiners. What's it called again?
They've got a competition that they call Master Distiller, And,
wow, very nice. Yes, I've seen this, yes.
He's a smart guy. He's a great assistant distiller. And he went out there and did a good job, I think. I don't know. He can't tell me, He's NDA'd up, so.
We have to.
He didn't come back with a sad look on his face, so he may have won.
We have to tune in and see. A lot of great people. Donald Snyder giving you a shout out there from Florida. Thanks, Donald, for watching us. He says Savage and Cooke is one of the most beautiful distilleries he's been to, and we appreciate all that Donald does in the world of whiskey. Thanks for watching.
Absolutely, and congratulations, Donald.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Chris Gomez and Virginia, thanks for watching there. So when it comes to these the wine barrel finishes, of course, starting with the lip service, just delicious. What do you hope that these red wine barrels do to the whiskeys? What's your hope with this?
Well, honestly, that was the biggest challenge of coming here and rethinking rye whiskey and rethinking the whole line of whiskeys of how to make whiskey for a winemaker. And again, I didn't want to come out here and reinterpret what I'd done in the past and just try to. I didn't think that this called for a very traditional style of bourbon or even rye whiskey. While the grain bills are fairly true to type, both. Our rye whiskey obviously has quite a bit of corn in it. Our bourbon whiskey has less rye in it than I've put into whiskeys from my past. And whatnot, Breckenridge, I don't know to say from my past, everybody knows where I'm from. It's quite a bit less rye in the mash bill initially. And, but at the end of the day, after 3 years for the rye, 4 years for the bourbon, wanted to try and give it a local taste, definitely some influence from Dave Fitty and his experience. So, we started playing around with barrels from his portfolio of wines, which is quite prolific if anyone knows the Orange Swift line of wines. It's hot here. We tried a lot of different barrels. We pretty much tried everything we could get our hands on. And we ended up on a few pretty classics. The rye gets a Grenache finish, the lip service that you're sipping on quite a lot right now. And the bourbon gets a Cabernet Sauvignon finish. We have one other light whiskey called Second Glance that actually gets a Zinfandel barrel finish. All those barrels come from wine projects of Dave's. The Grenache is the only one that comes in from France. The Cabernet and the Zinfandel barrels come from a project right up north here in Rutherford, California, which is up in Napa Valley. Yeah, everything's nice and local. Our whole process here, our grains are grown an hour away over across the mountains in that place that's kind of on fire right now around Vacaville. And those grains are brought here, processed right here. Our barrels are coopered down the road at Seguin Moreau Cooperage, and everything comes together in the distillery here. So there's that element of locality to California. But also with the wine finishes, I had Dave's expertise to help me combine flavors. And it was not easy. It's using dry wine or barrels that have been used to finish dry wines. None of these wines that we're talking about, the Zinfandel, the Cabernet, the Grenache, which is a component of a wine called Department 66. None of them were, port-style wines or sweet wines or anything that you traditionally see bourbons and rye whiskeys being finished in. They were dry table wine barrels. So we've got a lot of different elements to contend with, to be careful about there. These barrels have only been used for a couple of vintages, especially in the case of the Cabernet that gets bourbon seeds. So there's still quite a bit of French oak extract in there. There's still quite a bit of that dense, the barrels aren't toasted, so tannins aren't deactivated. We got a lot more tannin we can extract. We've got a lot more that heavy French notes to the oak, that intense oak lactone that's just really oaky, and quite a bit of deep vanillin. French oak barrels, not as heavy as American, but a different kind of maybe a little more subtle variant of vanillin. And so all of that gets extracted along with the little bit of wine that was left in the capillaries. Whiskey's a pretty strong solvent. It reaches out further into the system of the barrel and pulls back.
Gets that wine out, right?
It does. Don't let anybody tell you differently. It's when you put whiskey in a wine barrel, a port barrel, whatever, you're trying to get that wine out of there. But we also get a lot of that oak influence that wasn't extracted in the wine process. So
it's the wine plus that oak that really didn't get extracted out.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. It's so much more than just putting some wine finish on the tail end of I'm trying to elegantly go over and get my glass again without looking like I'm wandering around too much. It adds an element that I've not tasted in too many whiskeys. We did a lot of this work out in Breck with different finishes, many different wine barrels, mainly dessert wines. And since I've been gone, they've done some amazing things with rum and Madeira, I believe. Hans out there is killing it. He was absolute best guy. Could have left in charge of that. So cool. Thanks, Hans. Love you.
Yeah.
And from our end here, I've learned a lot about dealing with barrels in a more delicate way. I mean, it's a lot easier to screw things up here. Everything gets their finishes from 45 to 60 days. And from day 45, we're checking it pretty much daily, trying to find that sweet spot where we pull it. And I have left lots in for too long, which have to then go through the trouble of blending out later with lots that are slightly under extracted. And I've got a little embarrassing pile of mistakes, but who of us doesn't? You've probably got one standing right next to you. I mean, I'm just kidding.
So really you're looking at about a couple months, a month and a half, couple months on these, but it will vary from barrel to barrel.
It will barrel, yeah, definitely.
Right.
And some of the more aggressive Rutherford stuff compared to some of the, Grenache barrels we bring in from France, which have been used a few more vintages and extracted a little more heavily. We are a little more careful with these big Napa Valley bruiser wines. I mean, it comes from a project called GB Crane, which is one of Dave's, prestige wine projects. And it's intense wine. It's if anybody out there drinking Dave's wines, he doesn't really do anything lightly.
These are serious wines. Okay, so we did the lip service. Which one do you want to talk to, the American next or the bourbon next? Which one do you want to?
I would say we should tuck right into the bourbon.
Let's go into the bourbon. All right, let's go into the bourbon, into the burning chair. And again, I think a lot of people watching will probably try these. If you haven't tried these, they are delicious. The art on each of them really carries forward the theme of the art from the distillery. This one of the burning chair, this is actually a chair that is indeed burning.
Yes, that is a Barco Lounger in Fuego, man. It is. It's a stare at it for a while. It'll come to you. If you ever run into Dave Finney out there in the world, ask him about his art. He'll probably give you a short answer, something to the effect of, "What do you think of it, and how do you interpret it?" Like many of the world's great artists.
Right.
And he's they look great on a shelf together. They definitely get some conversations going around them. And they're a bit polarizing. Some people think the opaque bottle's trying to hide something, but get it in your glass. We're not making insipid whiskey here. It's if anything, that extract I was talking about coming out of those wine barrels deepens the color considerably in those final days of aging. So.
What are those final days? I mean, these are days that even going a day further, a day shorter. I mean, there is a real perfection time. I mean, this is something that going just a little further can make a big difference, right?
Yes, quite a bit. Like I said, I've run past the finishing line on these things and just dumbly kept stumbling forward, thinking there was something better down the road. And again, those are learning experiences where we're blending those out. And, sometimes you got to drink your own mistakes. It's an occupational hazard. Drinking up overwooded whiskey, you learn a lesson. Damn it! But most of the time, I like to think I get it right, and I think definitely with the team I've assembled here and all of us just very passionately pursuing the best possible thing we can put in bottle. I'll let you guys all decide. I'm gonna try not to blow my own trumpet here. Pretty good whiskey.
It is. I mean, I love the nose on this one. You do get some of those wine notes. There's a nice butteriness that has these nice sugar back notes. This is a really great bourbon and something that is just surprisingly, just very interesting and complex.
Well, thank you. You're way better with the flowery adjectives than I am.
I know. I wrote some tasting notes to this one a while back. I'm going to have to look at what they were. But I know I really do like this. This particular one. This is your only bourbon.
This is our only bourbon whiskey. Yeah.
Right. And again, the bourbon is about 4 to 5 years old.
It is 4 years old. We peg it right at 4. We were able to pull everything of our age stock that was purchased. Mainly, I mean, we got through everything that would be 5 now, and now we're into the next slot that is 4. We have laid down quite a few barrels. COVID put a little dent in that.
Right.
I won't continue to tell that story about redistilling 150 barrels worth of rye and making hand sanitizer out of it, the most delicious hand sanitizer the world has ever seen. But we, like I said, we are a little behind on it, but we have that machine that I showed you can work. And we have laid down so much of our own. We're on track to get as much as we can laid down this year and next year, hopefully. I don't know. The next thing doesn't happen. Aliens don't invade or something like that. Or, I don't know. Giant volcano explodes. I don't know. Tom Fischer reveals himself to be a lizard overlord who, I don't know, Tom.
It could be the lizard whiskey. It could be. Just my math. Okay, so milk. I get milk chocolate. Okay, I looked back. I found the notes. I had said milk chocolate. A little bit of I got coconut meringue pie because I'm like I get kind of this coconutty thing.
Yeah, no, that's what I have here too.
Is that what you got? I am reading this because I had to look back.
No, I always write the notes on my hand.
This is great chocolatiness. Lots of things. I mean, this has things that you don't get on every bourbon. You know it's a bourbon, but these elements, this depth, is something else. And this is a whiskey by itself. You need nothing else. You can get an ice cube, but you can use this, and this makes an amazing cocktail too.
I think so.
What do you like to make with this one?
What I've been playing around with lately here, drinking a lot of Manhattans, just because I made a little sweet vermouth down in the distillery to play around with. Been trying to perfect a recipe for that out here in wine country, make the perfect sweet vermouth, and I don't know where we're going to go with that. I don't think we're going to be releasing a vermouth anytime soon, but but it is damn fine for making a few Manhattans, and that's what I've been doing.
I bet it's incredible.
I'm not much of a cocktail guy. You know me. I like to put my whiskey in a glass and get it in my
It's just perfect the way it is. It truly is. Are you all going to do any single barrels at any point? Will we see any single barrels at any point from you all?
Well, here's what we did, Tom. the single barrel idea, we didn't, of course we were asked many times, and we just tried to see how that fit what we're doing here. And while there is some variation between barrels of different lots, we purchased our whiskey. We're working with purchased whiskey from a few different locations around the U.S. And quite honestly, single barrel expressions of it from, a relatively small lot. You buy 500 barrels from somebody.
Right.
There's not that much variation. So what we thought we'd do is give people a little bit of the experience of what Dave and I and Lauren Blanchard and Brian Sandoli and all the principles of this exercise did during the process of developing these whiskeys, which was try it in all kinds of different wine barrels and try different combinations of those wine barrels.
Right.
Well, we ended up with what are essentially single varietal expressions in each one. We had a whole lot of experimentation, mixing some Zinfandel with some Cabernet, with some Grenache, a little bit of Petit Syrah, with a little bit of Merlot, with a little Charbonneau, with a little bit of whatever else we were playing around with at the time. So our single barrel program is still one barrel. It's essentially 44-pack, 4.5 liter cases, 6-pack cases. But what we do is we send you a little collection of the wine barrel finishes, and we let you put your own blend together. And
it's your own blend.
It's your own blend. You get
Nice.
your kit, you get your little graduated cylinder, and you've got 3 200 milliliter samples of, say, Zinfandel, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Grenache, and you put them together in your own, how you see fit. And we've seen everything from some 100% expressions of like Grenache bourbon, which, is nothing like what's in our bottle,
Right.
to 50-50 blends of Grenache and Zinfandel, or, a lot of people try the 33-33-33 approach. Not my favorite. It's kind of muddled up, but every variation you can think of from 0 to 100%. People have tried, and it's been a good program. Yeah. So look for those in your local stores. If you don't have one there, ask the buyer there to ask ask your rep about Savage Cooke Distillery.
It could just happen if you're. Yeah. There's,
I've got a terrible sales voice, man.
no, it just might work here. He's luring us in with some whiskey. So now, what do you call that? Do you call that the single? What do you call it? The barrel program, or what do you call it?
We do. We call it the Barrel Select program.
Barrel Select. Okay.
Yeah, just because those two words sounded cool together. It is one barrel's equivalent, but we do age each one in their respective wine barrels, and you select the blend, and we put it together. And I mean, there's just some amazing ones out there. Some of my favorites. And again, it gives people that experience that Dave and I and the rest of the team here went through, trying to find the perfect combination of wine and whiskey.
Right. What have been some of your, as far as the actual breakdown, do you have any favorites as far as the breakdown of percentages?
Well, now you just want me to give away a bunch of people's great recipes? I mean, I can do that to you.
Could be dangerous.
Yeah. I will say this. I'm partial to the Grenache dominant bourbons.
Grenache dominant.
We ended up using Cabernet Sauvignon as our finishing barrel for the bourbon, which I think was a solid decision.
Excellent.
It was my decision, so I'm going to go ahead and say it was a solid decision because it integrated the most harmoniously and still kept the bourbon recognizable and
yes.
As a solid bourbon. The Grenache is a little bit heavy-handed as far as its wine influence on the final product, but it's super interesting. It's these beautiful light blueberry, raspberry tones with a little bit of floral notes in there, a little touch of like lanolin, and all the things. I don't. For those of you who are wine drinkers, some of the things you love about Grenache. I mean,
it does. It really carries those through, and you really are putting this element of everything great about California wine, but also true, serious innovation in whiskey, with whiskey, classic whiskey, all together in one. I mean, there's so many things in one you all are doing.
Well, I hope so.
You truly are, and of course, we're looking forward to the bad sweater. The lip service is great. The burning chair. Why don't you want to let's take a sip of Second Glance. I see someone has a question about Second Glance here.
I'm trying to look through some of the comments here and see if there's any questions.
Yeah, Virginia is asking: is the Zinfandel barrel finish on new on the Second Glance?
Yes, it is. So we did have we were using Cabernet finish on the Second Glance for a long time, pretty much since we started, and some of that is still out there on the little neck tags.
Right.
We try not to let them get onto those, but we have decided to move over to Zinfandel barrels.
So fairly new.
Fairly new. The that doesn't change up the flavor crazy. We always wanted to use the Zinfandel. We just we wanted to get to a point where we knew we could do it consistently, and so yeah. If you haven't tried Second Glance lately, please go out and have a glass. The Zinfandel.
You give it a second or even a third glance now.
Yeah, oh, nice segue.
Yes. Here's the Second Glance again. It's called Second Glance because you look at this and you wonder what you're looking at. A lot of people say dental X-rays. What else do they say?
Oh, we've gotten a wall full of pliers, and some people see it for what it is, which is a very handsome young man in the office here, wearing a super skinny 80s tie.
Skinny tie.
Looking like he might be the lost member of the Cars.
Right.
And now I'm just dating myself.
No, I like the Cars.
Oh, I know you know who the Cars are.
I like it. Very, very, very approachable and complex. I mean, this one is just. And what did the Zinfandel do to it? I don't know if I've had it with the Zinfandel. Maybe I have.
You probably have. We've been using it for a little while.
Okay, so I probably have. Maybe what I'm holding is the Zinfandel. What do you like that the Zinfandel is doing to it?
Well, the Zinfandel, the Second Glance base, all of it. The reason it's a American whiskey, its official classification is just whiskey. It doesn't have an additional type. The reason for that is it was aged in second use bourbon casks. And so it doesn't have that new oak influence that you get from bourbon or even your rye whiskey, which goes into 100% new American charred oak casks. The second use cask, while still having plenty of quality to give up out of the wood, it tends to make a lighter, more subtle whiskey, something more akin to Canadian or Irish style as far as the weight and mouthfeel of it. So, honestly, the Zinfandel being more aggressive than the Cabernet Sauvignon barrels, it adds these beautiful, just kind of more of a cooked berry note, kind of like a cherry compote, like almost a grape jam kind of note to it. But very fruit forward. It adds those on the top notes so that it's what you get initially when you smell it. Through the mid palate, it's definitely a lighter weight than the bourbon or the rye, but still a lot of traditional vanilla, oak, cinnamon, these kind of whiskey notes through the mid palate. And there's just it accentuates the finish a little bit more with a little more of that wine influence. Of the three, I think it's the one that you could definitely say, what did they put this in a wine barrel? Which we don't put on the bottle, because we don't like to put a lot of stuff on the bottle.
Right.
It's a very minimalist design to this, which I've always appreciated. I think Dave likes to put an interesting label that grabs your eye on there, but then let you make your own decision about.
And I think that's perfect because a lot of people. Have you talked to people that have tried it and then have said later, I never had any idea or I didn't know I didn't like it? I mean, do you find that sometimes?
I mean, quite a bit. I don't get out much, Tom. I'm here making whiskey, but I do. People are usually surprised by the Second Glance. It's usually the last whiskey that they end up with after trying the bourbon or trying the rye, and it's very mixable. I don't know what else to say about it, Tom.
It is. It's approachable. It has this nice creamy quality to it. As you said, that level of the weight is kind of like the Irish whiskey, but it gives you something that's sweetness. It's so interesting. I really enjoy the second glance. They're all so good in their own ways. They're good for different occasions. They're good for different palates, but they're all so good. I think people would enjoy whiskey, really, and I know they do because we've been hosting a whiskey educational series on the road now for quite a while. We've included your whiskeys in that. People have given us a lot of great feedback on your whiskeys, and all of them are appreciated. There's not one that I think goes further than the other, that people appreciate all of these.
Well, I hope they do. I just hope they keep drinking them, Tom. I'm going to get really thirsty if people quit drinking my whiskeys, because I won't be able to make enough for myself, and then I'll be sad. And,
right.
And it's not good to be sad during time of COVID. You should be happy.
No, it's not. No, there's.
We can
definitely, hopefully.
this.
You'll have enough whiskey both for you and for them, and we know that you have a good supply there, and now you have a bar behind you, which makes it an even better supply.
Agreed. Thank you, Dave, for that.
It's a great looking bar, and if you are just joining us again, it's Jordan Vi, Savage and Cooke. Any questions? Ask them down below. I'm going to pop up your all's website if you do want to follow Savage and Cooke on these social media, or just check out what they do. Go to savageandcooke.com. And I also want to make sure I put this website up too, bourbonblog.com/at-home. That's our whiskey tasting series that we usually do on the road, but we're bringing it right to your doorstep with both the whiskeys and the education. So make sure you like that link. Look at it a little while. We're doing some great tastings coming up where we're going to be pairing whiskeys and cheese and all kinds of things. And we'd love to have you all be a part of our whiskey tastings at home. But what a great pleasure to have you tonight, Jordan. It'll be fun to taste this new whiskey, this new bad sweater. Any other surprises? Any other new things we can look forward to that you can give us a hint of right now?
We've got a few things in development, but I'm not going to commit to any of them now, just because I'd hate to disappoint anybody, and or there's a whole lot of stuff going on out there in the world with people drinking more at home, and we're looking at ways to elevate our whiskeys, make them maybe something a little more cocktail-less and approachable, something you'd enjoy at your local fine craft cocktail establishment. So I'll leave it at that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
And as far as the other things we're doing, we do have, before all this started, we had plans, not only this bar, which is the definitely just the standing around having drinks and telling lies bar. We are building a proper bar for the public over in 45 in that beautiful building that we were in across the Sky Bridge.
Yes.
It'll have its own eatery, little restaurant and bar, and tables outside and on our beautiful patio overlooking the Napa River. And I hope people make it out to the island when it's safe to get out and move around with people. We got a lot of outside space, so we're not going to rush anything, but we'll definitely have a nice wide open area for people to come and drink on if that's how we're still drinking.
Absolutely. So it'll be a restaurant, bar, and open at some point in the future when things are a little different.
Yeah, we're actually right. We've got contractors back on site, starting to work on the at least the infrastructure for the bar and the restaurant. I don't have a real solid timeline because of the way things are right now, but sometime early next year.
Excellent. It'll be fun to see it. I know you'll have an incredible chef there and some really amazing cuisine.
We do have an incredible chef coming on. He's a good cat. He's a master sommelier and a master of the fried chicken. And his name's Chris Blanchard. He's on another podcast right now. He's at the same time, so I'm watching him over here, by the way, and he's not watching me because
he can watch you later. That's the good thing, and hopefully, if you did join us midway through this video will be up permanently where you watched it. And the other cool thing is, if you just want to listen to us talk about whiskey, this will be a podcast as well on our podcast channel, which is down below, anchor.fm/BourbonBlog. We like having new subscribers because if you're going to listen to a podcast, it should be a whiskey one, and we want you to subscribe to that. So we appreciate that. And Jordan, it's always a pleasure seeing you, my friend. You make such great whiskey, spirits. It's always been fun through these adventures with you over the years, and it's really a pleasure.
I look forward to seeing you out here in person.
Yes, we will do that hopefully in the very near future, and be trying some more great whiskey. And we'll be looking forward to be watching for the new Bad sweater, which this year is going to wear a sweater.
Now with 100% more sweater. Please
who knitted all those sweaters?
Send pictures, or please do. I mean,
did you have elves knitting all those sweaters, Jordan?
No, actually, me and my two assistants hand knit every single one of these sweaters. It's something you didn't know about me, but I'm an excellent knitter.
Excellent knitter.
Strangely enough, I used to just make all my own socks, but I went ahead and made about 20,000 of these.
Well done.
In my spare time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, the stitch work is mostly consistent. Yeah. And you should, don't put it on your cat.
No cats, no.
Or, your little toy chihuahua and post pictures of it with cute captions. Or do, whatever you're into.
Did you knit yourself a life-size version that you can wear?
Oh, I should have worn it. But it's about 100 degrees outside. So I actually fit into this one when I'm not drinking as much and I eat a little more kale. So
you gotta go more on that California kale diet, and then you'll fit into it.
It's the California kale diet. I'll just wear it on my hand like a little friend.
It's great to see you, Jordan. Well done with the sweaters and the whiskey, and we will have you back on here again soon on Bourbon Blog Live, and we will be back tomorrow. I'm going to do 2 Bourbon Blog Lives tomorrow. One at 5 p.m. We're going to be making it Negronis with Anthony Caparelli for Negroni Week, 5 p.m. Eastern. And then tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, it'll be Sean Williams of Cohiba Cigars and I pairing some Peerless whiskey and cigars. So tune in tomorrow. Cheers, everyone, for watching. And cheers, Jordan. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Tom. And thank you, everyone. And take care out there.
Cheers, buddy.